On the 1st of February 2020, in the quiet Western Sydney suburbs of Oatlands, an out-of-control ute mounted a footpath, killing 4 children, Anthony, his sisters Angelina and Sienna, and their cousin Veronique, all aged between 9 and 13. The 4 were walking to the shops in the early evening to buy ice creams. The children's 2 families gathered on the eve of the 1-year anniversary, but instead of harsh words towards the driver, they have spoken of forgiveness, launching an annual memorial honouring their children and urging people to reflect on the importance of relationships in their lives. What an amazing story of grace and forgiveness. Grace, undeserved favour, and forgiveness, a conscious and deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person who has harmed you. For the Abdallah family and Saker families, such a tragic situation that crushed their world. There is another amazing story of love and forgiveness through the story of Hosea. Hosea was a prophet of God carrying words of truth to a nation, but also his life carried a message. God asked Hosea to marry a prostitute named Gomer. Now, after they got married, she continued in her prostitution and promiscuous life, leaving Hosea for long periods of time. Now, Gomer thinks that she is being supported by her lover's payment for the work she's doing. But what she doesn't know is that she is actually being supported by Hosea, her husband, because God told him to. After a while, God tells Hosea to go to Gomer and show her love. The story says he goes and he pays her fee, probably to her pimp. And when she walks into the room, there she finds her husband Hosea, the prophet of God, and he invites her to come back home. What an act of love and forgiveness. In so many ways, this relationship mirrored God's relationship with Israel in the Old Testament, when Israel is unfaithful to God, yet God says, I still love you, come back home. And there is so much more to this story if you want to go and watch week 15 in the story, our series at the moment. But Hosea's love and forgiveness of his wife Gomer is also an example of the times we reject God's love and make mistakes, and yet God, through Jesus, forgives us and says, I still love you. When people wrong us and hurt us, and sometimes do the unforgivable thing and impact our life forever, man, it hurts and feels easier to just hold on to that and sit in that feeling for a long time. And sometimes it justifies why we are who we are. And then also the reason for some of our behaviour. Then throughout our life, we revisit it from time to time and snarl at the thought of that person that hurt us. And I don't know about you, but I often remember how someone made me feel, and there's unforgiveness in my heart, but I can't actually remember what happened. But I'll never forget that feeling. Or other times, the hurt is deep, and I feel like I'll just never forget what was said or done. But the times that I feel God prompting me to forgive, it's overwhelming. And I battle it out and I say, really, God, do you know what they've done? And then when I let go and truly ask God to help me forgive, and sometimes without an apology, the freedom and peace that comes with forgiveness is life-changing. Layla Abdallah, the mother of 3 of those children tragically killed, said this: if I didn't forgive the driver, my family wouldn't be the same. My family would be dysfunctional. My family would be destroyed. Their father said, what path do I take? The path of destruction or the path of construction? With their amazing act of grace and forgiveness, they said, we choose to turn our tragedy into a greater goodness. We choose to carry our cross with dignity. We choose forgiveness and love over hatred. I wonder if today, as you hear the examples of Hosea, the example of this amazing Abdallah family, and the breathtaking example of forgiveness, that as you sit and just be still, that you take a moment to close your eyes and stop looking at the screen for a moment. And just ask God, who is it today that I need to forgive? Just take a moment in the silence. I would say, if you have taken a moment to stop and do this and not turn me off, that if there is unforgiveness in your heart, that someone has possibly popped into your mind, it may be something small that you need to forgive, or maybe it's life-altering and significant, and you may even need to talk to a professional to talk it through. But right now, is it time, even in the midst of that pain, to ask God to help you forgive? And as it says in Ephesians 4:32, forgive one another as quickly and thoroughly as Christ Jesus forgave you. Forgiveness doesn't mean that what was done is okay. But in the words of Layla Abdallah, forgiveness gives you freedom and allows you to live your life peacefully. Forgiveness is the greatest gift that you can give yourself.